To introduce me, I am Dr. Rock Britto. I am an undergraduate from Madurai Medical College, postgraduate community medicine from St. John's Medical College. Right now, I am working in Dhanalakshmi Srinivasan Medical College as professor in Tamil Nadu, part-time YouTuber also. With this introduction, I will go to my topic, that is literature review. If you have a clear-cut idea on your introduction, review of literature and methodology, it is almost complete proposal, and a well-written proposal is always half-written paper, half-written research. You have to keep that in mind. You need to write your literature review during the proposal itself, not after completing the study, just before the submission of the thesis. If you do that, it is allowed, but it makes less sense on what you do. This introduction, the review of literature, we go to the specific objectives. So I want you all to know how and where to search for the review of literature, and what are all the softwares and the websites which you need to know for literature review, and to understand something about the plagiarism basics and how to avoid it. So that is all we are going to see in literature review today. This anatomy of scientific paper, this is very, very important, because whatever the research we do, the end product is going to be in this structure only. This structure is called as IMRAD structure, that is introduction, methodology, results, and discussion. It is broadly divided into introduction, methodology, results, and discussion. As we can see here, the introduction is what is known about the topic. And in review of literature, we say what is unknown about the topic, and how are we going to fill this gap will become the rationale or the need for the study. So the bottleneck in this process is the methods. That is what you are going to do. And results is what results you get. And in discussion, the purpose of discussion is to fill in the gaps through your results. And conclusion, what does this mean forward? Okay, you want a simple word on this topics. Introduction means what, methodology means how, results means what you found, discussion means so what. If you answer these questions, then that is the IMRAD style. So introduction usually ends in a need for the study and objectives, and review of literature also, like they are the subset of introduction only. In thesis, you have this as separate headings, but when it comes to a scientific paper, this will be clubbed in the last section of the introduction alone. Then we have methodology, that is the second session. We are going to have in the second session as methodology only. Then results, that is the third session. Then discussion. As a part of discussion, we also should know about limitations, recommendations, conclusions, and references and annexures also are a part of the complete thesis. You are supposed to submit for a thesis. Where you are going to do this review of literature, that is, you are going to do this in two places. That is, your own library that is present in your institution, and the internet, which is that is the key to open this world. Those are all the different ways of looking at the review of literature. But wherever you go, you do the same kind of such material which you take. The most commonly used research material is books, followed by scholarly articles, websites, thesis and dissertations, conference proceedings. Books have little older knowledge, and conference proceedings, thesis, websites, all your scholarly articles have recent knowledge. So that is, from chronologically, this goes from the most older to the recent ones. But the reliability component, when you speak some content, take some information, the validity of that information will be more accurate in textbooks, followed by research articles, followed by websites, followed by thesis and dissertations, and conference proceedings. So the validity of the information goes down, but the recency of the information, as you go down, it increases. This is the appropriate places where you are supposed to search. I have taken this slide from NIE NPTEL workshop. We have HON certified sites. That is a certification initiative from Switzerland. But currently, there are some operation issues. But whenever the site is HON certified, so which means the authenticity of that information is very good. Then we have other web search engines. Then specific query, if you are going to PubMed, Scopus, Google, or the library or the indexing agencies. See, PubMed, Scopus, and Google, these are all the database, the library, which collect many of the journals into their database. When that journal is present in that database, that journal is indexed in that particular database. Whenever a journal is indexed in PubMed, Scopus, and Google Scholar, it means that journal has some sort of standards in it. So when you take some information from those journals, it's a kind of a proxy for your accuracy and reliability, and out of which most preferred database will be your PubMed. Then we have many other types of articles where you can access the meta-analysis from Cochrane library. The Cochrane initiatives in India, many of the articles are available free for the researchers to promote research in our country. So that also you can see into the Cochrane library. So Cochrane means meta-analysis, which is meta-analysis means analysis of analysis. So which means you take multiple studies into one common pool and you take one inference for the particular topic, then that is called as meta-analysis. And also systematic review also club the information. Meta-analysis club the numbers and give an output. So that is the difference, all that you can access from Cochrane library. Okay, we have to understand that we can access full text articles. Most of the times when you access Google, you will get only the abstract information. That abstract information may be sufficient for you to quote in your thesis. But if you want something more than that, you need the full text article. That journal has to be the free open access, which means without payment, it has to give the downloadable version of the article. Then only you can easily access. So otherwise, you need individually pay, not at all recommended. Rather, it would be too costly also. Only if your institution has that access, you can get that. Otherwise, we have piracy techniques to get the articles that we will discuss in the coming slides. We need to understand about what are all the sites which we can get those articles. So bibliographic database, as I mentioned, from PubMed indexed journals, Google Scholar or your Scopus indexed journals, you can take. Cochrane library also you can take. Whenever you go for website sources, always prefer it to be an authentic organization website. Otherwise, if you quote some website reference, most of the times it may land you in some trouble. So WHO website, if you're a community medicine postgraduate, you take from WHO website, you don't have to worry about the information authenticity. So this is called as the gray literature. It is nothing but the literature which is not readily available into the internet will be considered as the gray literature. So most of the times the dissertation which is present in your own university, you have the access for it, and the whole scientific community will not have the access. Or your department's dissertation thesis, or your college dissertation, or your conference proceedings, whatever conference which you have attended, those conference proceedings will be available in your conference souvenir, but it may not be available in the internet. So all this will be considered as the gray literature. So when you are handling the gray literature, you need to use your mind to check the authenticity of the information. There are other standard sites which you need not look into the authenticity too much. That is the CDC site for Center for Disease Control, WebMD. And you have to understand the fact that there are some social networking sites, like how we have social media for video, we have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. So those are all the video social media platform. Likewise, research social media is also there. After you start publishing your article, you can post your article in those websites. That is the most common one is the ResearchGate, and academia also commonly used. So when you use this ResearchGate or the social media for your, that is academic networking, if you do that networking, you will identify most of the researchers. You can communicate with many researchers. So that way you can get access to the majority of the articles. You can ask for the private copy to the authors, and you can see how much your co-authors are publishing. So same way how you do in all the Instagram, Facebook, whatever the images you upload, you see others' images. Same way you can do same thing in social media, social networking for research also. I want you all to know about the Boolean operators. So whenever you are doing a search, that is you are searching on a particular topic, you need to know about this Boolean operators. I don't know how many of you remember the logic gates which we used in physics. So that is and, or not. So that is in electronics. We might have learnt in our +2 physics. So that is logic gates, and or not. Same phenomena, same basis is applied here for the search terms. If we are looking at diabetes mellitus and paleo diet, if you put up the term and Boolean logic operator, what happens is it takes only articles which has both diabetes and paleo diet, which has both diabetes and paleo diet. The studies with only diabetes mellitus and the studies with only paleo diet will not be considered. That will be the result when you use this and. Suppose, let's say you are using the term or. If you are using diabetes mellitus or paleo diet, It combines the studies which are done in diabetes and paleo diet, diabetes alone and paleo diet alone. So all will be present in our Boolean logistics. Suppose you are studying diabetes and paleo diet, and you don't want a Mediterranean diet to be present, you put not Mediterranean diet, then the studies which are Mediterranean diet will be excluded. Here in this example, if you put diabetes mellitus, if you are studying paleo diet and hypertension, you put not diabetes mellitus. So the diabetes mellitus studies will be ruled out in case of not. So that is how we refine our search. We want to get into the article which is in close association with our objective. So that is what we are going to see. So in that process, the search engines follow this Boolean logic operators. So you need to know about this and are and not and its functions. In literature search, we have this piracy. Before 1990s, we have the system of closed access journal policy, which means the authors, when they write to the journal, they don't get any publication fee. So the journals publish the paper if it is very good enough to publish. And if suppose a journal is published with an article, then that article will be given to an institution if the institution pays money. That is called as closed access system. Then open access policy came in the late 1990s, where the author who writes a research will give a minimum publication fee, and through that publication fee, the journal will be maintained, and that journal will give the access to the entire research society free. So that policy is called as open access policy. But so many predatory journals have come in, so it's still that closed access system operates. So we need some sort of access system. Person in this image is the Alexandria. She is from Kazakhstan. So she is called as the Robin Hood of research. What she did is she developed this Sky Hub, and they have used multiple methods to create this library. So if you type the URL or PMID or DOI number, then you will get the exact article full version downloadable. But the problem is we can't say this is fully legal. There are some legal issues. Even in India, 2 years back, a case has been filed, and they are all fighting the case. So what happens is this domain name will change often. So currently, this .tw is working. You can try it out, and majority of the articles has been removed from this database by some means. But there is a battle going on. At the end of the day, this is a very delicate situation. I mean, which is correct, which is bad. So we cannot opine with that. But at the end of the day, we need to improve our research, and for that we need this piracy to be known, so we can get access of the article. And I would say there are multiple articles available free in online. You can get your review of literature very much polished with the data which is available free. Sometimes there will be very good article, very good review article, which you cannot access through the open access system. You need to get those. So if rarely such situation occurs, then you go with this piracy. Otherwise, don't do this piracy as a default process. How many articles you are supposed to read? So when to stop your literature review? So we need to look for repeating patterns in the research field. So we need to give different authors that there is a conceptual dead end will be present. So that also you should understand. So look at the sources, authors. When same sources are repeated again and again, then you can stop your literature review. If the same authors are cited again and again by the citation, so which means you download an article, you look at the references, this article similar studies. If the articles are surrounded by the same information, then you can stop the literature review. And usually for an article, minimum of 40 or 30 will be the average number for a scientific article. That many number of references are needed. Sometimes there will be short dissertation for some fellowships and all. So there you can use this 20 to 40 deadline, minimum 20, maximum, around 40. Most of the MD, MS thesis will be requiring around 15,000 word dissertation. So there it is written up to 40, but you can go up to 80. That will be the optimum number. I would recommend 60 to 80 will be the optimum number of references. It is not the similar articles. What I say here is this number of references, but this 20 and 40 will be the similar articles will be good, or the related articles. Then you have to use your judgment, and you have to identify the numbers and the number of articles. Most importantly, you need to consider your guide and your university guidelines. What and all number they expect, you need to satisfy. So this is again taken from the NPTEL only, BCBR course. Here they have by default given the chronologically placed, that is from recent to past you go. So that is what they recommend. So you can create a table for review of literature. So you can mention the study design, you can mention the objectives. Your objective may be slightly different and their objective may be slightly different. So that you can mention, and the study population among whom it is done. So suppose let's say LGBTQ laws, and about LGBTQ laws if you're doing, sometimes you may do it in medical students, sometimes you do it in medical doctors, sometimes you do it in transgender, sometimes you do it in general population. So that you need to mention about the study population and the sample size, the measurable outcomes and author comments all need to you need to mention. And if you make it as a paragraph, then your literature review will become very good. These are all some of the steps which you need to remember. That is, you need to compare the methods, results, and findings. The ideal purpose of your research is there is a gap in the research, and you are going to create a new knowledge, small piece of knowledge, and you are going to insert that small piece into the existing gap of the research. So that is your ultimate purpose of your literature review. You cannot fit whenever your research is not compatible with this existing scientific knowledge, you cannot fit. So what you need to do is you need to identify, understand what and all methods they have used, results they have found out, findings they have observed, all you need to understand. And you need to tabulate and compare the results. You need to read and critique the studies. There may be positives, there may be negatives, and all these things you need to do that. Now we collected so many articles. Now, as I mentioned, how are we going to organizing it? In the NPTEL course, we have mentioned it as chronological. Sometimes you can arrange in terms of advancements. Sometimes you can arrange in terms of the geography. Let's say, example, you are doing a study. You can do it in a way that you can start with the whole world, then European studies, Asian studies, Southeast Asian studies, then Indian studies, then your regional studies like North India, East India, West India, South India, like that you can do it. And again, your state in specific, yeah, you can do. So like that, you can go in a geographical way also you can organize. Then you can methodologically you can organize. Say some of the case series have reported like this, some case control study have been reported like this, cohort studies, like that also you can organize. But you need to have a proper justification for that organization. Chronological is most widely used, and if you are using some other technique for organizing, that should be justified by you and convinced by your guide. This is the ultimate entire structure of the writing of literature review. So we should know about the purpose of the review. We should organize it properly. The basis for ordering also should be understood. That is chronological, geographical, and all. So most important to least, earliest to most. So this order should not be changed. It should include all the quality and relevant publication, and you should paraphrase it. The most important thing, which is the most double-edged sword which you face in the review of literature, is the paraphrase. If you take so much of articles, so much of content from the internet, put into your study without paraphrasing, without making it in your own words, without citing it properly, then you land up in plagiarism. But the softwares, what they will do is they will just match the words and order of words. If that order of words is copied here, then they will identify as a plagiarized document. In order to avoid the plagiarism, so that is, you do a thorough review of literature, you do so much of scientific content gathering, you land up in plagiarism. So that also you should be careful. And when we are doing that, you also should know about the strength and weakness of those studies. As I told you, you should know about the gaps. You are understanding the gaps, so that whatever the results you are finding in discussion, you will get the study results fit into the already existing knowledge. After fitting your knowledge, there will be some gap, so you make some other person to do research on that. So that is the beauty of this research. So that is how the scientific research evolves. I end up with this review of literature session with the word of caution on plagiarism. So the word plagiarize means in Latin it is called stealing one person's work, idea, thought, language, all will be considered as plagiarism. There is a saying, when you steal from one, it is called as plagiarism. When you steal from many, that is called as research. But you need to have a paraphrasing, you need to have your own words, own context, and you need to cite it properly. So there are some plagiarism checking tools available. You can check with the tools, but at the same time, be cautious. If your university also uses, let's say, Turnitin software, that Turnitin software, if you are checking in that and you store the document, there is a chance that this document will show 100% plagiarism when you check through your university. So that also you should be careful. So unnecessary checking is not recommended. You keep that plagiarism in mind, paraphrase, cite your references, make your own words in your own context. Then you need not use your plagiarism checking tool beforehand. So understand the context. Do not copy paste. You have to create a verbatim from the reference paper. Quote, suppose let's say some definitions you cannot use your own words. Use quotes to indicate that the text is exactly taken from another paper. The order of the words is the key factor in contributing plagiarism. So you should break that order of words also. Paraphrasing should be done. And you can use plagiarism checkers if you want. When you write review of literature or any research, always use passive voice. Make it as a formal tone. There are softwares when you write like Grammarly, Quillbot. I repeat, Grammarly, Quillbot are the wonderful tools which make you make the tone formal, casual, scientific. So all those tone you can increase, and they will give you the content. They will refine you the content. You should be very careful with the AI checker also. Nowadays, along with the plagiarism checkers, AI checkers also available. You should not get trapped in that AI checker also. That is also important. Whenever you write review of literature, you are not writing essay on that particular topic. You are not writing a review article. You are going to do a research, and always keep your research objective in mind and research problem in mind. Make content related to that only. So this I told, plagiarism, don't cut, copy, paste, write your own sentence. So that is about the thing. I would end up this presentation with referencing as the important thing. When I said the 80 references, 60 references, you would be little under panic. It's not such a difficult job. It is, yes, it is a difficult job when you don't use a software. That is most commonly used software is Mendeley and Zotero. Either one of this Mendeley or Zotero you can use. You can get all these things arranged without any headache within a matter of seconds. I won't say it's matter of minutes. I repeat it. It's a matter of seconds. You can get it done with these softwares if you understand these softwares properly. With this, we are finishing off the literature review basics.